I stood frozen by the doorway, holding her phone in my hand, screen still glowing. The group chat was open. Jason, we'll slip something in his drink. Then we take turns. Brittany, my wife, he won't even notice. He's too busy being boring. That moment shattered me. They weren't just sleeping together. They were planning to get rid of me at the company party. And she was leading it. But instead of losing my mind, I smiled. Because they thought I wouldn't do anything. But I did. And now, everything's burning. The morning after the party, I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, her phone on the nightstand beside me like it was ticking with poison. Brittany snored next to me like nothing had happened, like she hadn't just agreed to let her coworkers mess around with her while they plotted to drug me. I replayed every moment from the night before. Every smirk, every whisper, every filthy message I found on her phone. Not just Jason, the arrogant one. There was also Mark, the married one with kids. Eric, who always acted nervous around me. All of them disgusting, all of them talking about my wife like she was some kind of party favor. And Brittany, the way she talked about me, like I was furniture, like I wasn't even human. I could have confronted her right then. Screamed. Demanded answers. But I didn't. Because I realized something. Yelling wouldn't give me peace. I didn't want closure. I wanted destruction. So I got up, took a shower, and drove straight to Caleb, a friend of mine from college who's now a private investigator. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I handed him her phone. Yes, I had backed it up, and told him, I want everything. I want dates, names, locations, photos. I want to know every lie she's told, every place she's been when she said she was at the gym or getting coffee. He looked at me, raised an eyebrow, and said one thing. You sure you're ready for what I might find? No, I said, but I'm done pretending. While he got to work, I did too. I wasn't going to be the sad idiot crying in the kitchen while she snuck around. I logged into our shared accounts, credit cards, location history. I even checked our Ring camera footage. Dozens of little lies unraveled like cheap thread. She wasn't at yoga. She was in a hotel. She wasn't shopping. She was getting drinks with Jason. She said she worked late. Meanwhile, she was getting picked up by Eric 2 blocks from her office. She had built an entire world made of lies and cheap perfume. And I had been financing it. But here's the sickest part. She didn't even try to hide it well. Because she thought I was too weak, too soft to ever do something about it. That was her biggest mistake. I started making calls. I froze the joint account, just enough to not raise alarms but lock her access if I needed it fast. I met with a lawyer that afternoon. I didn't file anything yet. I wasn't ready to pull the trigger. Not until I had all the pieces lined up. Later that evening, Brittany came home in yoga pants and a fake smile, tossed her gym bag on the floor, and kissed me like nothing was wrong. I'm starving. Want to order Thai? I looked at her for a long second. She noticed something. Something in my eyes. What? She asked, fake laughing. You look like you saw a ghost. I just smiled. Just tired. She shrugged and walked away. I stared at her back as she disappeared into the bedroom. I wondered how many men had watched her walk away like that, thinking she was theirs, thinking she was honest, thinking she was decent. But I knew better now. She wasn't a mistake. She was a warning. And I was done being the victim of her game. The next few days were a performance. I played the role of the perfect husband, smiling, cooking dinner, laughing at her stupid reality shows. But inside, I was ice. Every word she said felt like poison sliding off her tongue. And she had no idea I was already setting her entire world on fire. The private investigator, Caleb, started sending me daily reports. Photos of her getting into Jason's car. Audio recordings of conversations at restaurants. One, in particular, made my blood boil. They were in some dim bar, giggling like high schoolers. Jason, you think he suspects anything? Brittany, he's too much of a doormat to even notice. I could probably bring you home and tell him you're the plumber. Jason, or the pool boy. Brittany, or both. And they laughed. She laughed. That laugh used to mean something to me. Now it made me sick. But instead of exploding, I started planting seeds. I asked her casual questions, seemingly innocent. How's Jason doing? Haven't seen him around lately. She blinked. Jason? I don't know. Office stuff. Smooth. But not good enough. She started getting sloppy. Maybe she felt too safe. Maybe she thought I'd never grow a backbone. One night, she left her laptop open while she showered. I opened her mail app. She was logged into her burner account. That's where the real filth lived. Explicit messages. Plans. A spreadsheet, believe it or not, with code names for each guy. Jason was Alpha, Eric was Lunch Break, and Mark was Dad Mode. I wasn't even Beta. I wasn't even on the damn list. She used me. My house. My money. My loyalty. That night, I couldn't sleep. I watched her as she slept beside me, mouth slightly open, like a peaceful angel. But I knew she was a devil in disguise. I started imagining the confrontation. Would she scream? Would she cry? Would she beg? No. She'd lie. That's what snakes do when cornered. They hiss, they twist, they blame you. I was ready for it. The next morning, I took off work. Brittany thought I was at a conference, but I spent the day preparing, printing documents, transferring money to an untouchable account, setting up a private meeting with her boss. I had video of her sneaking into his car and kissing him in the parking lot. And here's the twist. I didn't just want revenge. I wanted to erase her, strip her down to the nothing she made of me. That evening, she came home late. She had makeup on, but not the kind she wears for yoga. She was glowing, lips smudged slightly. She walked in like she owned the place. "You're home early," she said. "Yeah, canceled the trip. Wasn't worth it." She flinched, just a little. I walked past her into the kitchen, poured myself a drink, and slid an envelope across the counter. "What's this?" she asked. "Something you'll want to read before our little dinner tomorrow night." She narrowed her eyes. "What dinner?" "Just you, me, and Jason." I figured it's time we all got on the same page. Her face turned white. I'd never seen her scared before. And I wasn't finished yet. Because what she didn't know was that Jason's wife, yes, the one she forgot existed, had also received a little package from me. And so had HR. This wasn't just a breakup. This was checkmate. She didn't sleep that night. I lay beside her. I shut, listening to her breathing. Uneven. Nervous. Every few minutes, she'd toss, turn, sigh loudly, like some kind of victim. She had read the envelope. Inside were photos of her and Jason kissing outside the office, screenshots of messages, and a single line in bold text. "Dinner. Tomorrow. 7 p.m. Don't be late." She didn't ask me about it. She didn't say a word. Because deep down, she knew what was coming. And I made sure to make it a night she'd never forget. The next evening, I set the table. Candles, wine, plates, the whole deal. You'd think it was an anniversary dinner if you walked in. But instead of roses, the centerpiece was a USB drive and 2 sealed envelopes, one with Jason's name, one with Brittany's. At 6:55 p.m., Brittany appeared in a black dress and heels, eyes red but mascara on point. She tried her usual act, trying to look calm, seductive, composed. She failed. At 7:03 p.m., the doorbell rang. Jason stepped in confused. "Hey, what's going on?" I smiled and gestured to the table. "Have a seat. Both of you." They sat like obedient little liars, side by side. My wife's hand trembled slightly. Jason gave her a quick glance but didn't say anything. I poured them both a glass of wine, then pushed the envelopes toward them. "These are for you. You can open them now or wait until I finish talking. Either way, tonight's the last night we all pretend." Jason opened his first. I watched as his eyes flicked across the contents, printouts of his messages with Brittany, photos from the private investigator, and a copy of the HR complaint with his name on it. His throat clicked as he swallowed. Brittany didn't open hers. She was shaking now. "I know everything," I said quietly. "The hotel rooms. The parking lot hookups. The disgusting messages. And not just with Jason. You've been busy." She opened her mouth to speak. "No," I cut her off. "Don't insult us all with excuses. You didn't slip up once. You built an entire double life. You chose this." Jason tried to stand. "Look, man, I didn't mean to." "Sit," I snapped. He sat. Then I pulled out my phone and pressed play. It was a voice recording. Brittany's voice from that sleazy bar. "He's clueless. I could bring any guy home and tell him he's the plumber. He'd probably make him dinner." Jason snorted under his breath. "Big mistake." I turned to him. "Your wife got that same file this morning. Every single thing. She's probably packing your stuff right now." He froze. "And Brittany?" She cracked. Her calm mask shattered into rage. "You set this up? You pathetic little weasel. You go digging through my stuff, spying on me like a creep?" "No," I said. I woke up. She stood, grabbed her wine glass, and threw it against the wall. "You think this makes you powerful? You think you've won?" I didn't even flinch. I stood too slow and calm. "You're going to pack your things. Tonight. You'll leave the house. It's in my name, and the lawyer's already filed for divorce. You'll get nothing. She tried to laugh, but failed. You can't just erase me like that. You already erased yourself, I said. I'm just taking back what's mine. Jason stood and stormed out without a word. Brittany followed, slamming the door behind her. I stood alone in the kitchen, the broken wine glass still dripping red down the wall. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt peace. But it wasn't over. Because revenge this clean was only the beginning. The door had barely slammed behind her when silence flooded the house like a tidal wave. No more fake laughs echoing down the hallway. No more lies whispered into phones she thought I couldn't hear. Just stillness, and the scent of expensive perfume lingering like a ghost that refused to leave. I didn't move for a while. I stood there, watching the wine drip down the wall, trailing red streaks across the white paint like blood. The glass shards sparkled under the chandelier. Fitting. That's exactly what she did to us, shattered everything and walked away in heels like it was nothing. But the real beauty? That wasn't even the punchline. 2 days later, Jason was fired. Apparently, the HR department took workplace affairs and abuse of power very seriously, especially when married managers slept with subordinates in the office, in cars, and on company time. His wife had gone nuclear. She filed for divorce, took the kids, the car, and froze his accounts. He tried calling me once. I didn't answer. He could rot. As for Brittany, she didn't just lose me. She lost everything. Her stuff was dumped at her sister's place in trash bags. I'd changed the locks, killed her credit cards, and sent her a clean-cut divorce agreement. No alimony, no assets, no pity. Just signatures. She called, of course, 23 times. Left voicemails, texts, emails. At first, it was fury. You manipulative freak. You had no right. Then came the denial. You're overreacting. It was never serious. Eventually, the desperation. Please talk to me. I messed up. We can fix this. You're still my husband. That one made me laugh out loud. No, Brittany. I was your safety net. Your backup plan. The guy you kept around so your life wouldn't collapse while you played trashy little games with men who called you Alpha's toy. You don't come back from that. But still, there was a part of me, buried deep, that wanted to ask, why? Why did you do this? Why throw away everything for a bunch of guys who saw you as nothing more than entertainment? That answer never came. Instead, I got a letter in the mail. A real one. Handwritten. In it, she blamed her childhood, her stress, her mental health. She cried on the page, said she was lost, that I had changed, that I made her feel unloved. Classic. But here's the truth no cheater ever wants to admit. She didn't cheat because she was broken. She cheated because she could. Because she thought I wouldn't do anything. Because she mistook kindness for weakness. Loyalty for blindness. She thought I'd forgive her. Instead, I erased her. And that decision? That was the first one I made purely for me. No guilt. No second-guessing. Just clean, sharp clarity. I started rebuilding quietly. Sold our house. Moved to a new apartment downtown. Switched my number. Took a few weeks off work. Started lifting again. Eating right. Sleeping without nightmares. Laughing for real. One evening, I sat at a rooftop bar, drink in hand, city lights glowing below. A woman next to me smiled, made small talk. She didn't know my name, didn't know my story, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel broken or bitter. I just felt free. But deep down, I still kept a piece of that fire. Not anger, not hate, just memory. Because some betrayals don't fade. They sharpen you, harden you, remind you that loving someone doesn't mean losing yourself. And now, I'll never lose myself again. A month passed, then 2. And just when I thought Brittany had vanished for good, she returned, like a cockroach that survives a nuclear blast, only weaker, quieter, and surprisingly, scared. It started with a knock on my new apartment door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, there she was. No makeup, puffy eyes, hoodie hanging off one shoulder like it didn't belong to her. And for the first time since I'd known her, Brittany looked small. I didn't say a word, just stared. She swallowed, stepped forward, then hesitated like the threshold might burn her. I needed to talk. Please. Make it fast. Her eyes welled up. I messed everything up. I know I hurt you. I don't even expect you to forgive me. You need something. I cut her off. She froze. Rent money? A place to stay? Jason kicked you out? Mark ghosted you? What is it, Brittany? What brings the queen of manipulation back to the doormat? That hit her. She blinked hard. I don't want anything from you, she whispered. I don't know who I am anymore. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. You are exactly who you've always been, I said. You just ran out of people dumb enough to believe the act. She tried to step in, but I blocked the doorway. This is not your home. You burned that bridge. Torched it. Then spit on the ashes. Her voice broke. You were the only person who ever really loved me. No, I said. I was the only person who loved the version of you you pretended to be. That person doesn't exist. She dropped her head. I'm getting help. Therapy. I'm trying to change. I gave her nothing. Just silence. And then she pulled out her trump card. I might be pregnant. Silence again. But this time it hit differently. I stared at her. Hard. You might be. I said. What does that mean? You don't know who the father is. She looked away. No answer. That was the answer. I let the silence stretch. Let her feel every ounce of the weight she put on me. Then I stepped back, slowly closed the door, and said, not my problem anymore. Click. The sound of that door locking behind her was the most satisfying thing I'd heard in weeks. The next few days, she spanned my phone. Photos of a pregnancy test. Crying voice notes. Apologies written like poetry. All deleted. I blocked her. I blocked her sister. I blocked her friends. But I wasn't done. I had one final card to play. See, the HR file I gave Jason's wife? She'd handed it off to her lawyer. And from what I heard, that lawyer had connections in the press. Rumors were starting to circulate at Brittany's workplace. Not just about the affair, but about the group chat, the plumber comments, the party plans. The same colleagues who once laughed with her behind my back? Now they wouldn't even look her in the eye. The same men who flirted and schemed? Now they whispered, avoided, and distanced themselves like she was toxic waste. Karma didn't just catch up, it lapped her. And me? I watched from a distance. I didn't need to do anything anymore. Her world was collapsing all on its own. All I had to do was smile and move on. Because the best revenge isn't anger. It's becoming untouchable. It was almost poetic. Brittany, once the center of every room, now stood alone. She'd gone from gossiping over cocktails to whispers behind her back. Her name didn't command attention anymore. It triggered eye rolls and awkward silence. The same people who once encouraged her reckless games now treated her like a virus. The fallout wasn't just professional. It was social. Her so-called friends, Lisa, Jenna, Kelsey, quietly unfollowed her, one by one. Group chats dried up. Invitations stopped. No more spa weekends. No more bottomless brunches. It turns out, no one wants to be associated with the woman who tried to seduce half her office while plotting to sabotage her husband. I didn't even need to lift a finger. She ruined herself. Still, that didn't mean I was done healing. There were nights I'd wake up, fist clenched, heart racing, hearing phantom laughter, hers, Jason's. Flashbacks would hit me at the worst times. I'd be at the gym, halfway through a set, and suddenly I'd hear her saying, "You're too boring to notice anything." That line stuck with me like a splinter under the skin. But pain? It's a strange kind of fuel. I started therapy not because I was broken, but because I refused to let her keep living rent-free in my head. My therapist, a no-nonsense woman named Carla, didn't coddle me. She pushed me, challenged me, forced me to face truths I didn't want to say out loud. You didn't lose her, she told me once. You lost the illusion. That's not tragedy, it's liberation. She was right. Because what I had with Brittany wasn't love. It was an addiction to the idea of love. I thought I had a partner. Instead, I had a parasite. And when the illusion shattered, I didn't fall apart. I rebuilt. Stronger. Sharper. Smarter. I reconnected with old friends. Got back into photography, something I'd given up years ago. I started spending weekends outside, hiking, road trips, taking shots of mountain sunrises and quiet lakes instead of wondering if she was lying again. My camera didn't cheat. My camera didn't gaslight me. Then, one afternoon, as I was walking through a local art fair, I saw her. Brittany. Alone. Pale. Smaller somehow. She wasn't wearing makeup. Her hair looked unwashed. She held a paper cup of coffee like it was the last thing anchoring her to the world. She saw me. Our eyes met. She opened her mouth to speak. Maybe to apologize. Maybe to beg. Maybe to spin one last story. But I just smiled, nodded once, polite, emotionless, and walked past her without slowing down. Because I didn't need to hear anything else. I didn't need an explanation, or an apology, or some twisted sob story. I didn't need her anymore. That moment wasn't explosive. It wasn't dramatic. It was closure. Clean. Final. Quiet. Later that night, as I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, I realized something. It's not the betrayal that breaks you. It's believing someone like that ever deserved your trust in the first place. But now, I trust myself. And that's something she can never take away again. Months passed. Life moved on, without her, without the weight of her lies clinging to my every step. My apartment didn't just look different, it felt different. Peaceful. Clean. Every trace of Brittany had been erased. No more framed photos of fake smiles. No more perfume-scented traps. No more faked excuses when she came home late, full of half-eaten truths and lipstick she never wore for me. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It was comforting. And then, one day, I received a letter from her lawyer. She was contesting the divorce terms. I laughed. I wasn't surprised. That's the thing with people like Brittany. They never think consequences apply to them. They lie, cheat, manipulate, and when it finally catches up, they scream unfair. She wanted alimony now. Claimed she sacrificed for the marriage. That she gave up years of her life for me. My lawyer chuckled as he read through her claims. She's got some nerve, he said. This is going to court. Good. I wanted it public. I wanted her to sit there, in front of a judge, and explain how she deserved anything after treating our marriage like a side hustle. I wanted her to feel that moment when the truth was no longer in her control, when lies couldn't save her anymore. Court day arrived. She wore white. Of course, she did. Trying to look like the victim, the innocent one. She didn't make eye contact with me. Her lawyer did all the talking. Spoke of her emotional distress, her mistakes, her desire for healing. My turn came. I didn't yell. I didn't get emotional. I let the facts speak. Messages. Photos. Voice recordings. The affair spreadsheet. The group chat where she laughed about drugging me. The judge didn't say much, but his face said everything. Verdict. Divorce finalized. No alimony. Restraining order granted. Brittany ordered to pay a portion of legal fees. She didn't cry. She didn't throw a fit. She just sat there, still and hollow, as if all the power had been drained from her. I walked out of that courtroom with my head high, not just because I won, but because I earned that victory. I didn't scream or stoop to her level. I outplayed her, outclassed her, outlasted her. And then, she disappeared again. No more letters. No more texts. Just silence. I'd hear whispers now and then how she moved back in with her mother. How she tried to get a job but couldn't pass the background checks thanks to the HR mess. How her reputation followed her like a shadow she couldn't outrun. But I didn't celebrate. I didn't need to. Her life became the punishment she built with her own hands. Meanwhile, I kept growing. I started dating again slowly. Carefully. I wasn't bitter. Just wiser. I didn't chase the excitement, the adrenaline, the spark that blinds you. I looked for depth, honesty, substance, and eventually I found someone who didn't play games. Someone who didn't flinch at the truth. One night, over dinner, she asked, "Do you regret it? Any of it?" I thought about that. No, I said. I regret wasting time on the wrong person. But I don't regret surviving her. I don't regret waking up. I needed to go through hell to remember who I really am. Because in the end, Brittany taught me the most important lesson of all. Trust is earned. Love is sacred. And if someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. This wasn't just the end of our story. It was the beginning of mine.